grill him. I've got choices. I've got options. But she's the only woman who has two choices. She's playing a tight game. She's attractive and she's strategic. And that's what you need in real life. That's how you need to play the game. Keep your cards close to your chest and just keep it rolling. Keep it moving, G. You're not desperate. You're not thirsty. Like, you ain't never thirsty. You can be hungry, but you ain't thirsty. Like, let's put it like that. Tell them. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe. Happy New Year, guys. It's a great year. It's going to be a great one. Great milestones. Before I start, I want to thank everyone. The last video really did well. I thank everyone for watching. I thank everyone for the comments. I appreciate all the love. Another milestone we met as well was I finally made 1K. Woo, woo. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'm going to go straight into it because I know how people like to skip and like this is too much talking. But don't forget housekeeping rules. Don't forget to like the video. The algorithm, we depend on the likes. The likes are important. The comments are important. I like to go back and forth because, different opinions, they're important. I like to, see what people are thinking. So every now and again, I might drop in, say, tell me what you think. But at the same time, even if I don't ask you, I love to hear what you're thinking about. And most importantly of all, or maybe just as important is, subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're watching this video, everybody says about shacking up stuff. No. If you think you're enjoying it, just go ahead and subscribe. Hit the button down there. All right, let's get into it. It's a great new year. We've got a new episode, a heavy episode. It's season 4, episode 11, and it is called A Reason, a Season, or a Lifetime. Love that title. So this episode goes straight into Ladies Lounge. What's the purpose this week? Purpose this week is, ladies, you're going to have your family meet the man of your interest. Ooh, let's see how it goes, ladies.
Thank you. Let's have some champs.
Okay.
Phil is meeting me at home with my parents. I'm so nervous. I'm shaking. I can barely even dress myself. My mom had to dress me today.
How long have you
That
known
clip
him?
right there is Sydney. Phil is meeting Sydney's parents. A really cute couple, attractive couple, fun couple. It tells you a little bit about, Sydney. Like, you can see where she gets it from. She got from her mama. Hey, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, they're a likable couple. My G, right now, just for this moment, Phil, he show up with 2 bouquets of flowers. He comes up with 2 bouquets. One for Sydney and one for her mom. He didn't stop there. He came with a bottle of bourbon for the dad. This boy has home training. I'm just talking about just this clip right here. Impressed. And then there's a part where Sydney's like, oh, she was so nervous and mom had to dress her. I don't know if it's likely that your mom dressed you because you were in that little tiny skirt. I don't know if your mama will put you in that tiny skirt and a little sports bra you're wearing. I mean, the blazer was cute, the big normal oversized blazer, so it kind of balanced it. Yeah, I'm not going to judge you. Fashion's fashion, but yeah, altogether it kind of looked cute. And then of course on the outside you see when you disrobed, you see like the whole get up. And at this point, you know what I think, guys? By this point, my guy says that, it looks like Sydney's inching a little bit forward. Yeah. All he's trying to do is, I guess he's maybe studied other seasons, so he's trying to not commit. So I don't know, the appearance of having a choice or just keeping, suspense. I'm not sure, but I think you and I know he's already made his choice. Right, guys? He's made his choice. We know who he's picked. We know he's picked Sydney, and he just wanted to, I won't be mean, but he just wanted to string Shiloh along. That's how it looked like to me. What it looked like to you. And then going into to further buttress this point.
At the retreat, I spent a lot of time with Shiloh, and her choosing me is kind of throwing me off. I'm not there yet. Need to stay true to myself, stay true to the process.
So here, my guy here, Phil, says that, when they went away for the weekend, when Shiloh said that, she was choosing him, it threw it off his game. And, that what he wanted was to stay true to himself and stay true to the process. So just kind of limiting himself and just cutting everyone off and sticking to Shiloh wasn't really part of the game plan for him. Let me ask you this question. First question. Do we really think that Shiloh's honesty was the problem? Or was the problem that he didn't like her enough? Or he had found somebody that he liked more? Because, any guy watching this, please let me know. If a guy you're really excuse me, guys, forgive me because I'm going to talk about girl, right? Okay, it could be a guy. You know what? It could be either one. Guys, if a girl or a guy you're digging approaches you and is, real forward, I won't say pursue, but approaches you and displays an interest, I'm into you, and you like that person too, would that throw you off? Or would that be welcoming and you'd appreciate the fact that you guys skipped a couple steps of pretending or meeting representatives because the person's come forward and you like the person too? Because I'm not buying that, her kind of declaring it threw him off. Fair enough. Could she have held that card to her chest a little bit longer? Yes, she could. But, sometimes there's a second sense I wouldn't say we as women have. She was feeling a need to say that because she could feel something. Maybe it was changing. The dynamic was changing. Because from the beginning, it seemed to be Shiloh as Phil's front runner. But somewhere where Sydney got a little closer to him, he changed. And she felt the shift, the energy shift. He didn't have to say anything, but she wanted a verbal confirmation. And give a little peck on the cheek. And that's where he left it. He didn't say nothing else. We're going to go more into this. Okay?
So they say relationships go in a reason, a season, a lifetime. How do you fit yourself into that equation?
I see a lifetime. She's more than just a season or just.
Okay, so this clip is, I want to call it the Grand Marquis clip. The title of the episode is based on this clip. So Aisha's mom and her brother Ade come in, I think from New York, BX, right? She Bronx lady, I think it's come back to me. So anyway, they come into town, mom's sitting down, and she starts off with, I think the brother, let's try and do it in order. Her brother Ade. That sounds like a Nigerian name. Anyway, Ade asked him my guy, we're on the street. Is that you have 3? Can you see the 3? You got 3 baby mothers. What's up with that, my guy? What's up? And, Dante's able to smooth it over by saying that, you know what? Yeah, he explains. So his explanation here is that 2 of those, that he doesn't have any baby mother drama, that 2 of the baby mothers are actually remarried. Now, I want to be clear and I want to clarify, and I don't know if everybody feels that way, that it may not be your first choice to be with someone who has multiple baby mothers because there is a component of possible drama there. But I don't want to at the same time judge him because we don't want to judge people by their past mistakes. We want to look forward and see how are they representing themselves now? How has he, aligned those relationships? How is he interacting with the women involved? How is he interacting with his children? Because, I don't want to make excuses for him. I don't know what happened or how it may not have been ideal, but has he learned from that and grown from that and made sure that, any woman that occupies his space will not have to suffer as a result of his past mistakes? That's what you really want to see. So I feel like, the family was satisfied with the way he responded. It was a decent, good response. But the most important point here is, mom says, okay, looking at my daughter, do you see yourself with her? Are you with her for a reason? Are you with her for a season? Are you with my girl for a lifetime? Smooth, we know Dante's smooth. Then we call him Hugh Hefner last week. So Hugh Hefner says yeah, I'm with her for a lifetime. yeah. So that's why I call it the marquee moments, because it was definitely, Aisha's mom who came up and brought that about.
I am coming to terms with the fact that I need to make a very tough decision for myself.
Right. As a father, I was telling you that don't waste my daughter's time.
Yeah.
Because if you are not serious, if you are out there for an adventure, I think this will be a wrong adventure.
All right, next clip we have, Frank meeting Moomin. I hadn't paid attention, but apparently Moomin's from Cameroon and Frank is from Ghana. West African house, yo. So, Frank meets up with her dad. I don't ask me their names, okay? Uncle and her big sis. And uncle and dad are dressed up like, yo, Wakanda lives matter. That's right. That's what I'm saying. They were into traditional garb up. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I like not just African, garb, but actually just cultural wear. Like, I also have a thing for, I love to see when, Indians wear like their traditional, because bright colors, they really have bright colors, beautiful. But I digress. But anyway, uncle and dad were dressed like we would be dressed if we're in Cameroon or any part of West Africa. It's a similar kind of attire, but there are certain differences. But anyway, so they're dressed, they come through. And initially that thing, like he coming for like traditional ceremony, talking about I'm proud of you, but yeah. that is not. It's just a meeting. And I think a lot of times when you have the couples meet or somebody else, one part of the couple meet the parents, it makes it a little too official. So sometimes if they're not, keyed into, just pop culture, they might attach some more importance to it than is really required. So anyway, comes in, meets him, and then they start talking. So Uncle Shay, gets the meat of it, shit like that. Y'all look nice together, but what I want to know is, my niece, where's she in the pecking order of things? So clearly there's a pecking order, son. Like, what up? Like, how that run? Frank tried to be honest, running through his little thing, talk about, I kind of remember what he said, but he said he was just trying to be honest. He was just trying to say that, I'm very interested in her, but there's somebody else there. I had Dad come right back like, Aji, this is not an adventure. It's not Six Flags, and it's not Crocodile Dundee. If you're looking for adventure, son, my G, like I come packing. Like I got a pistol here and a pistol there. No, I'm kidding. He don't have a pistol. But I'm saying, wouldn't it be funny if he was packing like concealed weapon and he had a license to carry concealed weapon and he just opened up his jacket like, my G, what were you saying again? This was an adventure for you? That just reminds me of a scene in, Bad Boys where, I think a guy came to see Martin Lawrence's character, his daughter, and then he and Will Smith met the guy at the door, and I think they were swinging one weapon. It was a nice, I think it was a Glock. I don't know much about guns, but I like them. But anyway, he was swinging it around, and the guy was terrified. But anyway, I digress. So he just warned him, gave him like a good warning. I do like that about parents. Just typically, they're not playing with you. Like, you can speak all the English you want. Like, yo, do you remember where we came from? I'm just letting you know right now. Don't do it. Frank gets it. He gets it because he grew up the same way. So
we had a conversation in the club, at the space, near the end of the night when people are like leaving. Tones of voice raised. That's when the conversation escalated. And I'm like, I just want to answer. A direct answer could have just eliminated this entire situation. Phil was picking me up to try to get me back to the car. I'm like, yo, I'm not incapable of walking back to the car. He didn't have to take it there. There was an experience that I had before and it triggered me.
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Is that late?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all should have had your ass at home. We gotta know where the boundaries are. This is bad.
So the next scene that we just saw is one of 2 or 3 heavy scenes in this episode, but I want us to actually, attack it or discuss it because I think it's important, and I'd like to parlay that into other things, not just their experience. So, they show Shiloh and Phil meeting up with Uncle Nephew Tommy. They had met up, and there was some exchange. Before we kind of go into just this particular scene, 2 mistakes that I think occurred that might have prevented this from happening is Shiloh had said something about she just wanted an answer. Yeah, in real life, just want an answer. Yo, IG, makes sense. Like, he don't give you an answer, tell him to step. But this is reality TV. Not just reality TV, it's a game show. Not just that, this is season 4, season 5. I keep saying 4 or 5 is one of them because I don't think they included, Last Resort in it. But anyway, this is not the first season. We know that this is a conversation that comes up every single season, and everyone pushing for the answer never really get the answer or create some distance because they're searching for that answer. On this show, searching or asking, am I your number 1? Am I your number 2? What's the pecking order? Never gets you anywhere. Because I think to play this game right, you have to stay cool, calm and collected, like you don't care. Make sure that your options are set. You have more than one option. You didn't put all your eggs in one basket. So then you're not, even if you want, and I think that's even true to real life sometimes, don't always let people know that you want them. Like, play it cool. Because sometimes people are drawn to you looking fly across the room. But if you're all up in their, their armpit, they're just like, after a while, what do you say, that familiarity breeds contempt? Like, back off me. Like, yo, 6 feet, it's COVID. Like, stop. Like, let's not do this. That's what it is. So that's why I call it the first mistake. You requiring a direct answer to a direct question on a game show. You don't get the right answer until they hit the buzzer. It's not time for the buzzer yet. It's not fair, but it's true. And sometimes when you delve into something, you have to abide by the rules, whether they're fair or not. Nobody said life was fair. I'm not saying it is, but it just is how the game is played. So that was the first mistake. The second mistake was, my G, picking her up when she had more or less expressed a desire for him to give me a minute. Now, we don't really know what transpired. What really transpired happened between them. Only Shiloh and Phil know what happened. That's the truth. I feel like maybe more than it has been disclosed occurred, but I can't speak on it because I wasn't there. But I just want to parlay that into us understanding how we'd approach, or how we might have experienced similar situations if we parlay that into other things. Somebody encroaching on your personal space, somebody breaking boundaries, and then how you react. Because the truth is, if I skedaddle a little back, sometimes, I think I've said this before, that it's not what people say, it's how they say things. So Shiloh had felt in her spirit, like when she had told him, like, yo, I'm with you, I want to settle with you, I want to be with you, you're the one for me, I want to settle down. Remember that was it Tyrone had done a similar thing at the time, and she didn't feel it. I think she forgot. It's probably weeks later, I don't know. It's almost a similar kind of scenario. So but it's like when you're experiencing, it's really hard to sympathize or understand what the other person's going through. So it was going to be difficult to get an answer. But she did say, as part of one of her her confessionals too, that the way he was acting and the way he didn't answer was an answer enough. But somehow this conversation became loud, boisterous. I won't say they had an altercation, but they had like a loud argument, and something transpired. What we're told transpired is that he invaded her personal space and lifted her up as she was trying to walk away. That's what we're getting. I mean, I can kind of, just because we're going to delve into the scene when they actually sit down and talk, and I'll say more, but I can almost see both ends. So I can see one end where, whether it's true or not, I can believe one end where he's saying, I knew you were upset. I saw you walking into an alley that I thought was dangerous. We're in downtown DC, which is not safe. And even I, as a man, would not feel comfortable. I knew you were in your emotions. And so I don't quite get, like, he lift her, pull her, drag her. Like, I don't know what, the details always give you the beef of the story. But he literally kind of took her against her will back to the car. And she felt a certain way about it, understandably so. And then you can also look at her side as like, she wanted a minute. Sometimes you need a minute to process things, and she just needed him over there and to be over there. So I can kind of see both sides based on what they're selling to us. But, I still insist that, more transpired. I'm not saying he hit her, but there was more. But sometimes some personal issues can't really be for public consumption. But I want us to use that and parlay that into our own experiences, that when have we found that our personal, boundaries were violated, and how did we react? Did we react in the moment, or did we wait, or did we not even speak up and then went back home and started, beating ourselves up about it, like, oh my goodness, and then walking around with that sense of, and I don't want to make it heavy, not about the act itself, that it's about the sense of power the person's imposing over you, forcing you against your will and bidding to their will. Like, literally, you're being forced to. So is that the way Shiloh is feeling? Like she was forced against her will. Not to say it was that extreme of an example, but it was like in the same strength to understand why she felt so triggered. And the question now is, and I wonder, is like, she did admit that when it occurred, it was she was triggered. So in her sense of being triggered and automatically reacting and being drawn to a situation where it did happen, like almost like post-traumatic stress, like a lot of the time you get the flashbacks and you're almost drawn back into the time and place when it happened. So her being drawn back in that time and place, she was unable to correlate and say that, okay, it didn't really happen. And I bring it up again, but I'm not saying it was a similar situation. But, when you have people who've, survivors, I don't call them victims, even after they've been through it, like sometimes someone just kind of invading their personal space, they're startled and they have that kind of thing. So it's like he invaded her personal space, and it wasn't a question of, oh, he's trying to help me. It was just like, oh my God, it was like, like PTSD. She was drawn right back into the situation because she has confessed that there is an event or events that occurred that have made her have those boundaries where it's just like, don't do things I don't want to do. Don't make me do things against my will. She felt very strongly about it. I feel maybe a woman another woman who hadn't had that example or hadn't had that kind of experience may not have reacted as such. She would have just seen that, oh, he actually cares. That in the midst of her anger, she would see that he still cares about my welfare, and maybe been okay and appreciate it and kind of walk back with him. But she was already in her zone of, the PTSD, so she couldn't see what he was trying to do. But in the same strength, if we stand here with him, for all intents and purposes, to what we know, what he's shown us, that he's a good guy, but still, was he trying to impose his power as a man? And, just generally, publicly, we do look at men as physically stronger than women. Was he imposing his will on her because he felt he was a man and he just wanted things to go his way? I don't know. Like I said, we weren't there, but I want us to not necessarily try and judge and try and figure out what happened, because whether we know what happened or not, it's not going to change anything. What I want us to do is look at that example and ask ourselves that, certain, traumas that we've been through, have we been able to reconcile them? Have we done the work to heal from them, so that we're not always drawn back into that time and place when something occurs? Because you don't want to because life is how you perceive it. Life is how you react to things. So it's like when things like this happen, if you haven't completely healed or worked on it, then you tend to react and get back there. Because she did say something to the strength, like, she couldn't believe she was drawn back then. Even her face, her disposition had changed. The bright, bubbly Shiloh we knew from the beginning of season was gone. She was gone. And that's why I feel I was so affected by what happened, because the face was there, still a beautiful woman, but her spirit behind her eyes, there was a difference. She seemed broken, like almost dragged back to when that, whatever trauma it is, or traumas that occurred, back to that time. And she's walking around figuring out, look, I've got to heal again.
Drill him. I want you to drill him.
You just said don't.
I know, but I'm changing my mind. I have choices.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I want you to drill him.
So this next clip, Sydney is having Frank meet up with, her parents, sister Sarah. Like, is that a way to tell us already who's more important? Like, Phil gets to meet the parents, but Frank, he gets to meet the sister. I don't know. Maybe it could be a filming conflict. I don't know, but I'm just looking at like how I see it. I'm just working with clips that OWN Network showed me, and it just seemed a little off that. Like, so, like, Frank ain't good enough for the parents. He only good enough for the sister. And right before he arrives, Sydney's like, yo, sis, I want you to grill him. She's like, really, you want me to grill him? I thought you said not. No, grill him. I've got choices. I've got options. Boom. And that's the aim of the game. If you're wondering how to play this game, if you are planning to do another season, if somebody is looking and wants to do a season, if they have other seasons to come, if they're still recruiting for DC or any other city, if you're wondering how it needs to play, you need to look at some of the players. This season, one of the players you need to look at is exactly how Sydney played the game. Sydney came when? She came like episode 2, 3, or 4, like somewhere in the middle, when the connection had already been made. But look at her. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she's the only woman who has two choices. And it's not necessarily because of her. I'm like, yeah, she's attractive, yeah. But no, she's playing a tight game. She's attractive and she's strategic. And that's what you need in real life. I'm guilty of not being strategic too, so I don't look at me like I have all the answers. But yeah, attractive and strategic. And she says that, yeah, grill him, I've got options. Mama taught her well, like, you've got options, and that's how you need to play the game. Keep your cards close to your chest and just keep it rolling, keep it moving, G. Like you're not desperate, you're not hungry, you're not thirsty. Oh yeah, you're not thirsty. Like, you ain't never thirsty. You can be hungry, but you ain't thirsty. Like, let's put it like that. Tell them.
Sydney, I don't know how this process is going to end because you're part of the answer to that. Mm-hmm. But I know I don't want it to end. I know that I want us to enjoy each other for a very long time.
Are you telling her the same thing?
I'm going to be blunt about this. I really do enjoy spending time with Moomin, but I know that I don't want to lose you, and I'm having a hard time.
So in the process of grilling, like we saw, in the process of grilling, Sister Sarah said, she come up with a pecking order question too. Frank, my homie, Romeo, how about that, Romeo? He's like, yeah, he comes up with some, like, I can't even articulate exactly what he said, but what he's trying to say, he's like, yeah, so it's Moomin versus Sydney. Who's what's his preference? Like, who? It was just a lot. So Frank is a riddler, because on one hand he said, yeah, I'm feeling like I really like Moomin, I'm not going to lie to you, but I would be crushed if you weren't in my life, or you weren't there, something like that. Like, you said a lot of words, but you said nothing. And I know Sydney picked up on that, because she can probably play that game too. Like, they play the same game, and Frank did say that, like, some of his concerns is that they're very similar, and so it doesn't know if similar will work. Now, we know in relationships sometimes being different works, and sometimes being the same works. It is how it is. I can't tell you, but yeah, game recognized game.
I've
heard that you usually date younger women.
Uh-huh.
How does it feel since you are dating Sabrina and she's older than what you usually date?
It's refreshing that she gets my pop culture references.
So you're ready to be with an older woman?
I'm ready to be with a woman that I can cherish and that cherishes me. When I think about Sabrina, you know, I'm a widower. And sometimes I think, well, had my wife not passed away, she'd be Sabrina's age. And so that's the type of beauty I'd be looking at anyway.
I was like, I didn't really think about it like that. That was cool. And it's like, you know, he has his preferences, but I feel like I look just as good as some of these 30.
Okay, next scene. My guy, Walter, meets up with Sabrina's cousin. Of course, it's remote or it's Zoom because Sabrina's cousin recently had a kid, so she's not going to expose her baby to COVID. I'm with you, sis, because you people pecking like, yeah. You know, remember the other scene, like, you know, Sydney worried about mono. That's why she's not kissing 10 guys. Sis, mono is not your problem right now. COVID is your problem. So that's what you hold on tight to that info, whether you're vaccinated or not. COVID is your problem, not mono. But anyway, I digress. So Stephanie, the cousin, is talking to them via Zoom. And so, you know, Sabrina has doubts, and she's expressed that to us on a few occasions. Even with her doubts, she did say she'd kind of expressed it to her cousin that, look, I want to get the real, but I don't want to look like I'm the one answering the question. So this is what, you know, they'd already had discussion. This is what I need you to ask. So, you know, she goes straight into it, like, because clearly she don't know, you know, what's his name from anywhere. So she goes straight and she says, you know, I heard that you have a preference for younger women. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Because I think his girlfriend I don't know, did she look young? I was just distracted by the girlfriend, you know, so I don't know if she was younger. I don't know. But anyway, he has a preference for younger women. If you have a preference for a younger woman, how are you going to feel about dating an old woman? Because Sabrina's not, you know, she's not in that category of late 20s, early 30s. How does that coincide with your regular type, your preference? And he gives a great answer. Talk about, you know, his late wife would have been, you know, Sabrina's age, so that's why he sees himself with a beauty who is, yeah, it could be right. It also gives like a really cute response initially, where, you know, I can just appreciate that you can appreciate my pop culture jokes and references. Okay, that's real cute. But you know, there's an issue here, and I think that's a big issue for Sabrina. She does recognize, and not that the show has shown us that Walter dates a certain type. He carries himself a certain way, and that's why she's had these reservations. That's why she kind of held herself. I mean, other reasons too, because we do know that he has had in the past, if that's his only link up, he's not communicating with her properly. I'm puzzled. Like, Walter, what's going on? Like, at this point, that's why I say with this game show, at the end of the day, it almost seems like people are just trying to get to the end. Like, they ain't trying to make real connections. I don't mean everyone, but it just seems like a lot of people just trying to partner off with someone to get to the end so they get full screen time. Because full screen time means they can get more followers on IG. They can do some more, you know, informal interviews with people like myself and just get their name out there and then begin to push their products. I don't know, but I'm just, that's what I heard on the streets. Like, I don't know, because they seem to have like a nice chemistry at times, but there's something here. Like, you know, the Nile has split up, like there's something, and I can't put my finger on it. And I feel like even, you know, Sabrina in the midst of filming is trying to put her finger on it, because once, you know, Walter leaves, makes a good impression, Sabrina's almost prompting like, oh, so what did you think? Like, she was expecting her cousin to say something bad, and her cousin said, I didn't see it. I don't see what you're trying to get out of me. I actually liked him. And that's because Sabrina can sense something. Never second guess your intuition. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. It rarely, and I want to almost say never, leads you wrong. You just need to know what's talking. What's talking? Is your intuition, or is that crazy person on the other side? Your intuition, there's something like a tingle. It's like a sixth sense. When you start suspecting something, I don't mean you need to go batshit crazy and start like breaking furniture, but something's tingling. Something tingling for a reason. Like, I don't mean if you have chemical imbalances, then I'm not telling you to follow that tingle. But if you don't have chemical imbalances, like you're not intoxicated, that tingle is telling you something, and you need to trust it. That's all I'm saying. In my experience, when I've trusted my intuition, it never lied to me. Never. But sometimes you don't realize it's your intuition talking until after the fact. So, you know, rightfully so, you may not think that's what they did, but when you look back, like, I knew. So we get to the ladies lounge, ladies meet, they all talk, Sabrina, Walter, Moomin talk about Frank, everybody thumbs up. Aisha talk about Dante, thumbs up. Yeah, Sydney talk about her 2 dates, she say thumbs up. And then Shiloh feeling bad. And so she had had that discussion with uncle, nephew, Tommy, but she hadn't told the ladies, and she's looking at them in excitement and just wants to shrink. And you can see that face, like if you look at the face, she was just like, from this point of the episode, she was just broken. And it may just be, cameras and clips, but she definitely just seemed different. She just seemed like a different person. But anyway, so she kind of tells them that, Phil didn't get to meet her parents because she doesn't feel he deserved to, based on, what we've already discussed. And this is a point where I had respect for Sydney. I've always kind of played her off as, a game player. Neither calling that bad or good, but just calling it, what it is in this game. Like, she playing the game right. But the another part of her, a person, I had respect for her there. She asked, she said, he doesn't really treat me like that, but that's wrong. If he did that, that's wrong. He shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry for that. And then went ahead and asked for permission. Do I have permission to discuss this with him? Yo, that touched me right there, because she asked for permission. She didn't have to, but she did. And then that kind of broaches us into, am I my sister's keeper? My people, you are your sister's keeper. Sounds all flowery and different, but it is, because, where one can fight 1,000, two can fight 10,000. It's all about unity, bond. If we really figure it out and bond together as women, that's what I'm referring to now, we have what we need to run the world. And any man listening, I'm not saying we're going to kill you people. I'm just saying that I just feel that women need to be more united. That sometimes we get lost and caught up in competition and begin to chop each other down. But when you look at men who are caught up in competition, right after the race is over, they sit down and share beers. They have a beer, they have some wings, and they're chilling. Women be, bone faced and giving each other stank eye, like even after the competition. So you are your sister's keeper. Let me just, cut it short. You are. And that gave me a feeling of that. They're like, even though she was, I feel like that's her number one, that she still had compassion. Even like, y'all could tell me that she was faking it. Yeah. Do you guys think she was faking it? Yeah. Tell me in the comments. But you can tell me if she was faking it. But in my opinion, even if she was, she got me then. Like, her game is on 10, because she got me, because I did feel like some compassion and empathy going towards that woman. Like, sis, one sis to another. I feel you. I may not share that experience. I don't know what you're talking about, but I feel you, and I'm sorry you went through that. I don't know what else you could have done in that, So I like that. And then, at this point, Uncle, nephew, Tommy, and the show producers realized that, we have to take some element of competition out of it to make it more human. So there are no eliminations this week, So I just want Shiloh and, Phil to have that conversation, and then, Shiloh come back and see me. Let's see what up. Like, you going or you staying? But guys, not for real. Even before I go into that next scene, we know Shiloh and Phil are over. Shiloh and Phil were over before that event occurred. That event occurred for 2 reasons. 1, because they were over, and 2, because Shiloh didn't play it cool. But she knew it was over, but I guess she wanted to hear it. But they were over. So this is just, what we call closure. So, they start the scene and she's talking. I love that in all of this, whether it was external, internal pressure, the pressure we give us, because sometimes when we go through something, when we experience something, we almost want to, if no one is there to validate us immediately, we almost want to shut down our feelings and invalidate ourselves. But I love that the fact that even though there might have been internal or external pressure, she didn't stop from saying how she felt. She persisted. She expressed herself. You hurt me. I'm angry. And that is, when you really say it the way you mean it and the way you feel it, that is the path to healing. So she's now tapping back into the work she had done to get there. So she's climbing right back out of the hole. You hurt me, da da da. Like, I don't know I don't know whether the producers supported her or didn't, but she got to say what she wanted. Now, she may not have gotten the reaction she wanted from Phil, because Phil is, listening to her, that I get you, da da da, but I just want to explain. But she was clear, like, I don't care about your explanation. Like, now she's not worried about how she sounds or how she looks to him. She just wants to get her opinion out. Now, the one thing I wonder, and I think we've heard that, I'm hearing this because he, when he realizes that she doesn't want to hear what she says, like her reason for showing up there was to tell him about himself and how she was hurt, that she didn't care about what he had to say. Then he's like asking her, like, Shiloh, do you think I was trying to hurt you? And she says, yes. He's like, whoa. So I don't know, Phil, and I don't know if this is true, but for a guy in that position who really didn't mean bad by it, he was taken aback, like, whoa, what do you mean by hurt you? And she's talking about, yeah, you tried to emotionally hurt me. I don't know. Now, I don't know if that was her, still living in that pain of being triggered back to a past trauma, or was he really trying to hurt? I don't know. But the thing is, I think the point for me here is that in the midst of, because she might even feel embarrassed, she's ashamed that her boundaries were broken. And maybe she didn't speak up that night, I don't know, but now she's claiming back her power. That's all I can take from that, because like I said, I don't feel like we're getting everything that occurred. We don't get anything that transpired. More happened, but we don't need more to try and learn from these lessons. Like when your boundaries have been crossed, when you've been with someone, where there was a date, a friend, and somebody crossed the line, I don't know where that line was. Sometimes it's that need to keep quiet and pretend that it didn't happen. But sometimes you can claim your victory and your healing and standing up and saying, this happened to me, but I survived it. And even a bigger victory is to the person's face. Because we'll see, and I keep going back to victim, because it's a similar kind of emotional situation where you feel like you've been defiled. But then if you face the person that abused you and point your finger and say, you don't have that power over me, because sometimes the power of the abuse is almost in you keeping quiet and keeping that a secret and not saying anything, and then holding yourself, feeling ashamed, holding yourself hostage to, maybe I could have done this, maybe I should have done this, why did I let it happen, why was I there? Nah, it wasn't about what you did, it's about what that person did. Now, please, once again, I'm not talking about Phil and Shiloh at this point. I've said that I want to extrapolate that to situations for us, so how we can use it. So yeah, that was, for me, that scene, for me was her regaining her confidence, regaining her power, and saying that, yes, even though I felt like you violated me, I'm still here and I'm here to stay. And this is who I am. My name is Queen Shiloh. Yeah, that's what I want us to get from that, because I don't know what transpired, but it looked like she's ready to heal. And she's, because sometimes when you go through the process, you might slip, but then you remember the steps and you go back, you go through the steps. Like, what's it called? The 12 steps for AA. Hi, my name is da-da-da, and then that kind of thing. So she's going through the steps and she's regaining her strength. And I don't know how much time transpired between the time the event occurred and them having that conversation down. I mean, she looked pretty, but she still looked sad. But she was beginning to gain herself. And, by the time of the next scene, she had gotten herself, or seemed to get more of herself. Let me say that. So yeah, like I said, I really admire the fact that she didn't succumb to internal pressure to subdue her feelings, pretend her feelings didn't matter. She stayed true to herself, and she began to re-love herself, because at that point, feeling violated, you almost hate yourself. Like, I can imagine you hate yourself, you're judging yourself, you're blaming yourself. Me, like, I'm my worst critic, so I can almost imagine that. Like, she's, but she's like, no, I didn't do this, you did this. No. And she's throwing it back. She's taking it off. Like, that cloak of shame, it's not mine. So at the end of the day, was there closure? Because this closure thing, I don't really like it. No, but she was able to declare herself, reclaim herself. So it wasn't for him, it was for her. That's why I say the closure thing, you don't even need the person there. It's nice, for example, like this, where she's able to be in his face. But it's not like he gave her the response she required. He was still trying to defend himself, rightfully so, because if it wasn't what it was, then he's like, yo, how did I get here? But once again, we're not trying to define their story. We're trying to learn from, the breadcrumbs in what may have transpired. So just to open up, that last clip, the title is, a reason, a season, a lifetime, almost like a double entendre for me, because on one hand, it's like, Dante is claiming Aisha for a lifetime. But on the same hand, Phil and Shiloh were for a reason. What was that reason? Maybe for Shiloh to re-love herself, regain herself, come back to herself. Like, who am I? This is who I am. Because sometimes when we go through things, and this is when people, those of us from the church, when they say you go through a test to get a testimony, sometimes it's like all these lessons. When things happen to you, it's not because you're bad or, things should happen to you or that's how it's meant to be. But with everything that happens I think if you're within the headspace or you're able to do that, ask yourself, what's the lesson I'm meant to learn from this? So their union, them getting together, was for a reason. And it almost looks like, to me, and that's what I'm going to pick, because I like to look at the glasses half full, is that, it was for a reason, and the reason was for her to look back and love her more than she loved anybody else. Like, you love yourself properly, then you can love somebody else properly. That's just my take home point. She meets up with Uncle Nephew Tommy and says, you know what? I love myself enough. That's why I have compassion for myself. And for that reason alone, I'm going to step down. I'm not going to repeat, past mistakes where people have, invaded my personal boundaries, broken my boundaries that I may not have spoken up, or waited a while before I spoke up, or even blamed myself for the boundaries that they broke. But no, I love myself enough to not let that happen, to not repeat mistakes from the past. And if I have repeated them, to push back and turn around and no, that's not how it's going to work out. So yeah, I love myself enough to leave, because this is not for me anymore. The lesson I was meant to learn, I've learned it. And that's the end. Guys, thanks for sitting with me for this, this monologue. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Take care, guys. Lola, over and out.